Welcome back to A People's Guide to Publishing. I'm Joe Beal, the founder and CEO of Microcosm Publishing and Distribution. I'm also the author of A People's Guide to Publishing, which distills what I've learned from selling millions of books over the past 25 years.
I'm Ellie Blue. I'm the editorial and marketing director here at Microcosm. We are an independent mid-list publisher based in Portland, Oregon, and Cleveland, Ohio. We have over 700 books, over 25 employees, and we make about 40 new books every year. And we distribute thousands of titles from other publishers.
We started this podcast so that we can share what we've learned with newer publishers so that you can learn from our mistakes.
Or maybe you just want to understand the publishing industry.
I mean, I don't really pitch things.
We just talk a
You have
lot.
successfully pitched 3 books to us, so... Or maybe we pitched one to you, I don't remember.
Could have happened either way.
Well, we can get
I think
started.
you pitched one to me and I said no.
So maybe you're the expert.
Yeah!
This week, we are going to answer a reader question, which is, how do I make a pitch? Which is, people have asked us this question in various forms over the years. Like, it's kind of understandably, it's like almost the most important part of being an author, being a publisher, being a human being in the world.
Just kind of wanting to work with other people on any project.
Yeah, you need buy-in. Even if you're wrote a book and you want it to be sold in a retailer, you're writing a pitch, you're making a pitch.
I mean, and so we're joined by Jessie Kwak, who is an author who has written about to be 3 books with Microcosm about topics related to creativity, writing, books, freelancing, and has probably written many successful pitches in your life, I'm guessing, including ones to us. So she's gonna lend her expertise as well. But I don't know. I was thinking about this question because I was at first I was how to pitch a book to us? Well, you just follow the instructions on the website, duh. But pitching is, as you say, a much bigger topic, and it really kind of has to start with you having a pretty good idea.
And when the episode came out we did 2 episodes in late December, both about doing publicity, and we were similarly hit with an onslaught of follow-up questions from fans that were like, okay, yeah, I get it, but how do I write an email that sells my publicity? Or do you have advice for this or that? Or yeah, I get it, and I watched these and they're both really good, but how do I actually construct the pitch? I'm like, wow. And this question came in before this episode's aired, and then we got it 4 or 5 more times.
Wow, man. Well, I would say the place to start when you're constructing your pitch is with your idea, but the place you really have to start with the specific pitch is with what the person you're pitching to wants. Mm-hmm. What helps them? What is their motivation? What do they need? And then you need to give them, if your idea actually is something that they need and could use in a way that is mutually agreeable, you have to tell them that really clearly and give it to them in a format that they can use really easily. Mm-hmm. That's my summary.
The number one mistake that I see in people's pitches is that it's way too long. It buries the actual part that needs said. They do not need your life story. They don't want your life story. They're going to skim right past that part, and you don't want them to skim so much that they miss the substance of what you're saying. And then the second biggest thing is that they're pitching it to the interests of the person they're talking to rather than the function of the organ, meaning when you're selling something to a magazine or a newspaper or a blog, if the editor likes curry or coffee, that's cool, but they're not ultimately picking things up for their personal interest. They're picking things up for their reader's interest. So you really want to pitch it that way, where you're saying your readers are interested in mountaineering, and they're interested in camping, and my thing ties those together in an interesting and new way, and and this is what they're getting out of it, and this is why your readership would be interested, and that's the real substance of the pitch. And
that's true when you're pitching a book to us too.
Yeah, right.
I'm into bikes, but Are our readers into bikes? Yeah, they probably are. That's a terrible example.
But
You can pitch us stuff about bikes anytime. Got it. Okay.
I mean, and I get it a lot where like people will like try to befriend me to do that, and that is they will quickly find that as a very losing tactic because I'm forever bringing it right back to the like, why would we publish a book that we cannot sell? Like, there's just no purpose to that. Like, it's like we're hurting the author, we're hurting the reader, we're hurting all those retailers that ordered those books on our reputation, we're hurting the warehouse workers, we're like hurting other publishers because we're diluting that shelf that they are probably better at than we are. So it's just like, yeah, you cannot win by pushing harder. You know, you have to really like go to the right places where, you know, it's like the three-legged stool where everybody that is involved has to benefit.
What are some pitching do's and don'ts and humorous mishaps that you've seen, Jessie?
I would say, so I've pitched books to you, I've pitched articles like to magazine editors, and it kind of, I follow, I guess, a similar format no matter what I'm pitching, which is, hello.
Great place to start.
I use that one too.
Yeah, a little social lubrication, small talk.
Real brief, like, here's the idea and the problem it solves. I think that's huge. The problem it solves for your specific audience. Here's how it ties into other things that I've seen you publish, whether it's in your magazine or your greater collection. Here's what sets it apart from other potential things that are in the industry. Or, you know, if I'm writing another article about like breweries in Seattle, right? Like, here's what's unique about this is I'm only writing about breweries that only use like natural air yeast or whatever. I think there's maybe one. I'm writing about one brewery. And yeah, so problem, how it fits in, how it fits with the audience, what sets it apart. After that, any credentials I have, because that's useful, but it's not as useful as like, here's what I'm pitching you. But if I can be like, I worked in a brewery for a lot of years, or, you know, I've traveled in wherever I'm writing about, or I've been a freelance writer for 10 years, which is why I should write you a book about freelance writing. You know, that I feel like goes at the end, and then thank you for your consideration. And that should be like, I don't know, a couple hundred words max. Less than 100 if you can get it there.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, the best pitches are hemmed down until they're 2 sentences.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like you really can say, and you're a writer, arguably. So write and show your chops in your pitch. Yeah. You know, I mean, that's the thing that I'm like, I want you to tell me why and do it in as few words as possible, because that shows that you're capable of delivering on what you're offering.
It's true. I mean, we've all been there where we have a book to edit that's too long and takes forever to get to the point, and it's a lot more work to edit that book. So show us that we maybe won't be going through that with you.
One kind of trick that I've used for that is like writing the back cover copy before I write anything else, or even before you write the pitch. Like, that really helps you distill like, what it is you're trying to say. So if you look at other similar books and how the back cover copy is written, write it like, you know, you're marketing this book, and then once you've distilled down to, okay, in it we're going to talk about this, this, and this, and this is why it's important, and here's how it's going to change your life, and like go really, really over the top.
That's great advice.
Yeah, and then you can be like, okay, this is what I'm trying to write, and then you can go on from there. But it helps you get an idea of what you're actually trying to do.
Right, that's great.
That's great advice. I'm actually going to use that advice today for a project that I've been stymied with for a while. I learned something today.
Yeah, and this is and it's like people mistake that one too, because the back cover copy is not like a plot summary. It's not the same as, like, you're not giving away the book.
Yeah.
You're telling somebody why they care.
You're hyping up the book.
Right.
And distilling it down to, this is what makes this book so important and special and different.
Totally. What problem will this book solve for you?
And that's, and like I had, I think I've brought it up probably 10 times on previous episodes, but like when, I would teach this at PSU and then students would come back and be like, well, yeah, but that doesn't really apply to fiction. And you're like, and then one time another student like interjected and was like, well, it is, because fiction is entertainment, it's a distraction, it can serve like so many other functions. So like you really are looking at even fiction from like what problem is it solving for the person, why do they care? And like that.
Yeah.
Better than I could have said it, student.
Yeah, it absolutely applies to fiction. And I mean, if you need inspiration for like a really good, here's what problem it solves back cover copy, like go find indie romance authors and read their product descriptions, because they are just like, he's this, she's this is what they're getting together, here's exactly what you're getting out of the book, here's some content notes in a cheeky way so you can be like, oh yes, I do want that.
Right. Right.
Buy the book now, like go read those and you'll be like, oh okay, here's how you distill those.
Thanks for joining us once again.
Please send your questions to podcast@microcosmpublishing.com so we can answer them on future episodes.
And please give us 5 stars on iTunes and everywhere else that podcasts are reviewed.
You can find us on the internet at microcosm.pub,
on Twitter at Microcosm,
on Facebook at Microcosm Publishing,
on Instagram at Microcosm_pub,
and here in Portland, Oregon on North Williams Avenue.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful week.